Story 1. The journey began as a simple trek through the barren landscape, but soon turned into a descent into hell itself. In the midst of the arid wasteland stood a gateway made of ancient stone pillars. As my guide and I approached the ominous structure, a sudden chill ran down my spine. This is the entrance to the Underworld, my guide, a seasoned traveler and storyteller, muttered under his breath. We must proceed with caution. With every step we took, the air grew thicker and the heat more suffocating. The ground beneath our feet cracked and crumbled, revealing searing flames and the screams of tortured souls. My guide urged me to keep moving, promising that we would soon reach our destination. As we traveled deeper into the depths of hell, we encountered grotesque creatures and unspeakable horrors. The stench of death filled the air, and I could feel the weight of evil pressing down on me. But despite the obvious danger, my curiosity and fear drove me to continue onward. We finally reached our destination, the palace of Lucifer himself. The gates were guarded by fierce demons, their eyes glowing with malice. My guide whispered that this was the point of no return. Once we entered the palace, there was no going back. With trembling hands, I pushed open the gates and stepped into the grandiose hall. The sight before me was beyond anything I could have imagined. The walls were adorned with the portraits of sinners and the floors were lined with fire pits. In the center of it all sat Lucifer, his throne made of human bones. He offered us a seat at his table, tempting us with promises of riches and power beyond our wildest dreams. But my guide and I remained steadfast, refusing to succumb to his temptations. In a fit of rage, Lucifer ordered his minions to drag us to the pits of hell for eternal torment. And so, our journey through hell ended in a horrifying way. We were cast into the flames, surrounded by the cries of the damned. In that moment, I realized the true price of curiosity and the consequences of venturing into the unknown. As the flames engulfed me, I was filled with regret for ever embarking on this journey. But it was too late. My guide and I were trapped in hell for eternity, our fate sealed by our own foolishness. The journey may have been thrilling, but the ending was nothing short of a nightmare. We were trapped in hell forever, with no hope of escape. Story 2. It was a dark, cold night when Emily decided to take a leap of faith and embark on a journey to hell. She had always been fascinated with the idea of exploring the underworld. And despite her friends' warnings, she was determined to discover the truth behind all the myths and stories. She packed her bags and set out on her journey, feeling a mix of excitement and fear. As she descended through the depths of the earth, she couldn't help but notice the ominous silence that surrounded her. It was as if all the creatures of the night were holding their breath, waiting for her arrival. As she reached the gates of hell, she was met with a sinister sight. The gates were guarded by two towering beasts, their eyes glowing red and their breaths reeking of sulfur. Emily's heart raced, but she mustered up her courage and approached them. "I seek to enter hell," she declared with a trembling voice. The beasts looked at each other before opening the gates, allowing her to pass through. As she walked deeper into the underworld, she was greeted by the screams of tormented souls and the smell of burning flesh. It was a sight that would send shivers down anyone's spine, but Emily was determined to continue her journey. She encountered various horrific creatures, each one more terrifying than the last. But she pushed through, determined to uncover the truth. As she delved deeper, she came across a river of boiling blood, with souls writhing in agony within its depths. She could feel the intense heat searing her skin, but she pressed on. Eventually, she came to the throne room of Lucifer himself. The fallen angel sat upon his throne, a smirk on his face as he looked at Emily. "You have come seeking answers, mortal?" he asked in a voice that sent chills down her spine. Emily nodded, her heart pounding with fear. "You shall have your answers, but at a price," Lucifer said, his eyes gleaming with malice. He offered her a deal, one that promised her knowledge, but would cost her soul. Emily hesitated, but her curiosity got the best of her, and she accepted his terms. As soon as she did, everything changed. The creatures around her turned on her, their teeth bared and their claws outstretched. She tried to run, but it was too late. They dragged her to a lake of fire, where she was thrown in to burn for eternity. In the end, Emily's journey through hell had a horrible ending. She had uncovered the truth, but at a great cost. She would never be able to leave the underworld, doomed to suffer alongside all the other damned souls. As she screamed in agony, she realized too late that sometimes curiosity can lead to a hellish fate. Story 3. The journey through hell began on a dark, stormy night. Sarah, a young woman with a heart full of determination and a mind full of curiosity, found herself at the entrance of a mysterious cave. She had always been fascinated by the unknown, and the idea of venturing into the realm of hell seemed like the ultimate adventure. Without hesitation, Sarah descended into the depths of the cave, her lantern casting eerie shadows on the rough walls. As she made her way through the winding tunnels, she could feel a heavy presence weighing down on her. The air was thick with a putrid stench, and Sarah could hear faint screams echoing through the darkness. Despite the ominous signs, Sarah pushed on, her curiosity fueled by the thrill of the unknown. She soon found herself in a vast, fiery pit where she was met by a towering figure with menacing horns and a devilish grin. "Welcome to hell," the figure hissed, its voice sending shivers down Sarah's spine. It's not often mortals come seeking the true depths of despair. Sarah could feel her heart racing with a mixture of fear and excitement as she followed the figure down a long, winding path. Along the way, she encountered a variety of tormented souls, each with a tragic story of their descent into hell. As the journey progressed, Sarah began to feel the weight of the darkness seeping into her once determined spirit now fading into despair. The scenes of agony and torture became too unbearable for her to witness, and yet she couldn't turn back. It was as if a force was pushing her deeper and deeper into the pits of hell. Finally, Sarah reached the end of her journey, the culmination of all her fears and nightmares. In front of her stood a tall, dark portal, the gateway to eternal damnation. "This is it," the figure whispered, its voice now filled with malicious glee. "One step through that portal, and you will be trapped here forever, just like the rest of us." Sarah's heart sank as she realized the true nature of her journey. She had been lured into hell with the promise of adventure, only to face the ultimate punishment for her curiosity. In that moment, Sarah knew she had made a grave mistake. She had disregarded the warnings, and now it was too late. As she took that final step through the portal, she was consumed by the fiery abyss, never to be seen or heard from again. And so, Sarah's journey through hell came to a horrifying end. A cautionary tale for those who dared to venture into the unknown depths of despair. For in hell, there are no happy endings, only eternal suffering.